What's up, guys? Welcome back to Practical Web Dev. Today we're going to do a tutorial video and we're going to be building a project from frontendmentor.io. We're going to do, I just want to do like a little short one today, but one that probably a lot of you are doing if you're new to coding. And I want to do the order summary component. So this is what it looks like on desktop. It's just HTML and CSS. It'll have us practice some of our skills as far as like setting an image up and then using some positioning to have everything in a nice column here. And then we've also got some like box shadow and some other stuff. So this will be a good challenge here. And then we also have like, I think this might be a background image. We'll see if they give us a background image that's like that or if that's just like decoration. And then this is the mobile view, so pretty much the same thing. We'll just have to add a couple media queries and fix the width of our project probably to make this fully mobile responsive, which won't be a problem, so we'll get that done. But yeah, guys, so let's go ahead and jump in. This doesn't look too complicated. I'm going to go ahead and just click Start Challenge, and I will download the starter. And then I will also download the Figma file. Let's see. Got 12 credits. So, guys, if you're a paid member on Front End Mentor, if you have a premium account, which is like $12 a month, you can download design files for either Figma or Sketch. Figma is just like Photoshop pretty much, but just for development, and it's a free open source software. You can go to figma.com and download it, and it's really easy to use. Then you can either use it on the web or you can download the web app for your PC or your Mac. I have it on my Mac. I have the native app. But it's really, I'll show you how to use it. It's super simple and it's really nice because you can get your design down like pretty pixel perfect if you want to by using a design software. There's also Sketch. I think Sketch, this is also another software, but I don't think it's free and it's only for Mac, I'm pretty sure. I've never used Sketch. I've always used Figma, but if you're a new developer and you're learning, I suggest that you learn at least how to get through one design software. You don't have to become a designer, but just know how at least one design software works. And Figma, since it's free, would be perfect for that. So I suggest you at least learn Figma, okay? So I'm going to hit accept and download. I'll grab the Figma file. Okay, so we should have everything we need now. I'm going to minimize that. And I'm going to go on my other screen, just pull up my, just going to pull up the file that we just downloaded. Alright guys, so I got my my two zip files here. I've got the order summary component main, which is like the starter images and everything that we need. So I'm just going to drag this out to my desktop. And then I also have my Figma file. So what I'll do is I'll unzip my Figma file, my design file. And if you don't have Figma, guys, that's okay. You can still follow along with me. I'll be referencing Figma a little bit, but then I'll show you how to use the Figma basics, and then I'll be referencing like we'll just reference like this image here for the order summary component. We'll reference this. So honestly, I mean, you could just build anything just by kind of eyeballing it and guessing and looking at it and making an estimate. But Figma, like I said, it'll just make it so it'll give us like the width of stuff and how big stuff's supposed to be, so it'll look better. But we'll reference this too, okay? So no worries if you don't want to use Figma. Just minimize this again. So let me unzip my Figma file. Go. And then see this order summary.fig. This is what you'll need to open in Figma. So you got my Figma down here. And I'll show you how to, if you're going to use Figma really quick, I'll show you how to just import this, make your life easy because it can be confusing. It's got to be this .fig file. You can't just put the whole folder in there. It's got to be this order summary.fig, okay? And then you should be able to just drag and drop it in here. And there it is. Okay, so here it is. I'll just double click open it. Bam. Okay. So this is what it looks like on Figma. So since this design isn't super complicated, there's just 3 little slides here. It shows you the desktop, how it looks on mobile, and then the active state. So active states, guys, that's when you're like hovering over buttons. Does it do something, or does something change when you hover over it like a link? That's called an active state, so it shows you that. For bigger designs like multi-page website designs, there'll be like 10, 12 of these slides for all the different pages, okay? The other thing I like to do when I open up Figma is I like to make sure I'm in what's called developer mode. So if I go to view and I go down to open design mode right here, that puts me in designer mode where like you can make the design, and we don't really want that. This is the default mode that you'll open it in. It gives you some information when you click on stuff, but what we want is when we click on stuff, we want to get like CSS styling to appear so that we know what kind of styles to use. And to do that, you go back to view and say open dev mode. And this is like a fairly new feature in Figma, but it works really cool. I just discovered it a couple days ago. That way when you click on stuff, it'll give you like this is giving us the SVG, the background, the width, and everything. It'll just like pop up CSS properties here. Like here's the background color for the button. It's really helpful. Here's how the width and the height of the button, how it's supposed to be. And then you only get this in dev mode from what I know. So I suggest you always open this in dev mode, and that's how you do it. Alright guys, so now that we know the basics of Figma, so I'm going to pretty much have this in my other screen the rest of the video. I don't want to keep having to drag it over here over and over, so just know that as we go through here, I'm getting stuff like the paragraph has like a different color text. I'm getting all of that from Figma here, okay? And that's where all those colors and everything are going to be coming from when I tell you the colors. So like this purple for the background. The rest of the video, as far as the design goes, while we build it, I'm just going to be referencing the front-end mentor like design image. We'll look at this together, and then all of these specifics for the colors and widths and everything I'm going to grab from Figma and code that out for you up here, okay? So let's go ahead and minimize this to like half the screen, and we're going to put what we're building, our code is going to be in another window. I'll show you how we'll do that. So we have our starter code here, okay? I'm just going to rename this order summary component. I'm going to get rid of the main, just my preference, you don't have to. I'm going to open my text editor. I'm going to be using Visual Studio Code. And I'm going to go ahead and just drag this file in there, and that'll open it. You can also go to like File, Open Folder, get it wherever you have it stored on your computer. So let's just make this big for now. And this is what we got from that starter code file. We got design pictures, so that's cool. This is also what you can use to reference and look at yourself while you're building, okay? So we got all those. I don't really particularly need these since I have Figma, so I'm just going to delete this folder. Any folders you don't use, guys, or any files, you should always get rid of them on when you're building a website, because it's just less stuff that has to load when you put it live, okay? That's always a good practice. We don't need this favicon. I'm going to get rid of the favicon. And then these are icon images, and they're in SVG format. So SVG is just another way to make an image. And what we usually do for SVGs is we'll still just wrap them in an HTML image tag and then access them that way. Okay. This get ignore, we're going to delete that. We don't want that. We don't need that file. This is starter code. I usually get rid of their starter code from Front-End Mentor. You can keep it if you want. I like to make my own boilerplate code. The README template. This is just telling you how to, when you submit this, what you should include in your Front-End Mentor submission. Keep that if you want to. I'm deleting it. Again, another README thing that we don't need. Let's get rid of that. Then we have the style guide. So this is, if you don't have Figma and you don't want to use Figma, guys, this will be your best friend. This will tell you the font size of stuff, colors that you're going to be using, and yeah, all that good stuff, and what kind of Google font you're going to be grabbing. So I'll keep this around for now because I need that Google font, because I don't have a font. I don't have a slide in Figma that tells me the font, so we'll use that. But yeah, other than that, we're good to go here. So let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna be using Visual Studio Code, guys. And if you don't know, Visual Studio Code has a lot of shortcuts built into it, like all other text editors. So I'm gonna be using those shortcuts. It's from a plugin called Emmet, and it comes built into VS Code. So, for example, to get my HTML starter code, I'm gonna hold Shift and exclamation and hit Tab, and that gives me all my HTML starter code that I'll need. You'll notice that throughout the project, I'm not fully going to type all the code out. I'm going to be using the shortcuts and code completion from Visual Studio Code. And I suggest you do the same. So just for example, if I want to make an H1 tag, I'll be going H1 and then just hitting Tab. And that'll give me my H1. I don't ever really fully write tags out, guys. I'll also be using shortcuts to make classes and IDs on divs and other elements. So if I wanted a div with the class of heading, I would just type out dot heading and hit tab, and now I have a div with the class of heading. If I wanted a div with an ID, I would just say hashtag this ID. I want that to be the name and hit tab. And now we have a div with that. Okay, so I'll be doing stuff like that throughout the tutorial. Go ahead and follow along with the shortcuts with me and learn them if you don't know them, or you can always just pause the video and type everything out yourself by hand if you'd like to do it that way. It's completely up to you. So let's go ahead and make another file over here. We need to make a style sheet, so let's make a style.css file. Okay, and then let's go ahead and link that up on our HTML page so that we can link our style sheet. So I'm going to go under my meta tag here. I'm going to make a link tag. So I'm going to type the word link and hit tab. And it already knows automatically that it's probably going to be a style sheet, so our rel is set to style sheet. And then over here we're going to just start typing style, and I'm going to select the style.css file. And then I'm going to save, and the shortcut to save, guys, so whenever you type stuff, you'll get this dot up here, and the shortcut to save on your keyboard on a Mac is Command S, or if you're on a PC, I believe it's CTRL-S for save, or you can go up here and just go to File, Save, okay, either one. And when you get rid of that dot, that just indicates like, hey, you saved your changes, okay? So that's how I'll be saving my document throughout this. Let's change our document title to, we'll just say, let's make it realistic. We'll say like order received, okay? Because this is just the order summary component, but we don't want to, I don't want to put that up here. I want to try to make this like a realistic little landing page pop up, okay? So we'll just say order received. And now let's go ahead and launch this document so that we can see our changes in real time as we code. So to do that, you can see down here in my bottom right corner, I have a button called Go Live, and it says click to run live server. This is another plugin that you can download for Visual Studio Code. If you don't have it, your plugin area is going to be over here. You can search for, I guess they call them extensions. Just type in the word live. Live server will come up first. It's the most popular one in the world. And you'll click the install button if you have it, and then you'll get that button down there. You might have to restart your Visual Studio Code to get it to work, but it'll tell you if you have to. So let's minimize this to half the screen, and let's go live. Bam, there it is. So now that opened up that same window that we had Front-End Mentor in. And now we know this is our file because it's blank. We have nothing, but we know that the title should be order received, and it is order received up here. So that's good. We're good to go there. So we're pretty much ready to start coding. So I'm going to write an H1 really quick and just type out the word test and save, and just to make sure that shows up. And now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my CSS, and I'm going to do a CSS reset to get rid of the default margin and padding that Chrome and other web browsers give you. So I'm going to make the asterisk symbol. That means select all. And I'm going to say margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing border box. If you don't know what all that means, I have a whole video on CSS resets on the channel, so go check that out. But we know that worked because there's no margin and padding, and test is sucked up to the corner here. So we're good to go there. I'm going to get rid of that test H1 because we don't need that anymore. And now we're going to start building, guys. So what we need to do is we need to first, we'll make a, just looking at this, I'm just going to break this down how I'm already breaking it down in my head. This whole card here, we'll call this like a card for the order summary. We're going to give that like a div that'll be the container for everything. And then I'm thinking this up here, we'll make it, we'll put the image in here, but maybe as like a background image, I'm thinking, but we'll see. And then we'll just have our heading, paragraph, everything else. This is going to be another div, and within the div, we'll have all this stuff. We'll probably use Flexbox to get all this to align correctly. And then we have a button here, and then we have another, we'll have like a link that has cancel order. And then I'll be using probably like Flexbox to just make sure that this all stays in line within a nice column here. And that'll be it. And then we'll see about this background. I don't know, again, if this is just like decoration or if they gave us an SVG image for the background. If not, we'll make a background like just one of the pale blue colors. And we'll just have, because this is the background of white and we want it to show up like it's supposed to. Then you'll also notice there's like a little detail here, like some box shadowing. So I'll show you how to do that. I think Figma will actually have the box shadow code for me. So I'll probably just copy paste that in there. But because writing out box shadow code from hand from memory is like, it's a lot to remember. So I pretty much never do it. I either use Figma or I use like a box shadow generator on Google or online, and I just do it that way. But yeah, so that's how we're going to build it, guys. So let's get started. We'll build the container, and then we'll fill in all the information. So let's go here, minimize this, and let's get started here. So I'm just going to make this a div, and we're going to call this order summary card container. So kind of long, but I like my class names and my IDs. I like them really descriptive, so I know exactly what stuff does. And also, if other developers ever look at your code, they'll know exactly what's going on because it's just everything is written in plain English. I don't like to use a lot of abbreviations and I don't like to shorten everything up because I think that just gets confusing for people. So there's that. And then we'll show the image here. We have this top part, so this will be its own little area, and then the bottom part will be like the information area. So within there, I'll put another container, or not a container, but a div, and I'll give it the class of order summary image. Image. Okay. And I'm just going to leave that blank because I think I'm going to use CSS to make a height and width for this div, and then put the image in there with CSS as a background. So we'll hold off on putting anything actually physically in there. And then I'm going to we're going to start building this area now, which is just text, this little box, and then a button and a link. Okay. So that order summary heading, if this was on like a pop-up, like modal, like it would usually pop up when you click on like you want to buy something, this would probably be like an H2 or H3. So I'm going to make it an H3. Yeah, we'll just make it an H3 because I want to build this out as this is a little project, but it's just a small part of like a full web app or web page. So I want to treat that as such. I'm not going to make that an H1. You're supposed to have an H1 on every page, but realistically this wouldn't be a whole page. You know, we're building a little component. This would be something that you're doing as like a junior web dev at your first job, and they just, your first couple months, they're like, hey, just build this little component for us so that our senior developers can work on the back end stuff and other stuff that's more important, and you would just take that on yourself. So this will be an H3, and we'll say order summary. Okay. And then just so you know, that is showing up on our screen, but I'm going to be referencing this. After we get all this text in here, we're going to have to grab our Google font because this is a different font, as you can see, but we'll fill this in first. So that says order summary. Let's go ahead and put all of this stuff in another container before I continue. I want all of the information that we're doing here in a container so I can make sure that I can center it perfectly all together. So we'll just make a div above here called dot summary info container, and I'm just gonna cut this and paste it here, and then everything is gonna go in between this div. Now we have a paragraph, And I'm just going to copy all this text over from the Figma file and paste it in there because I don't want to write it all out. But it says you can now listen to millions of songs, audiobooks, and podcasts on any device you like. And then we have this area here where we're going to be using we'll be using Flexbox to line all this stuff up. Okay. So let's just get the HTML out of the way for that. So this will be another, since there's like a background, this stuff's going to be in another container. So we'll do that. All right, guys. So if we look at the design, we did our heading 3 in the paragraph. So now we're going to go ahead and build this little area here for the annual plan. So it's like a little box with a gray background and some elements here that we'll use Flexbox probably to put these side by side. So we'll do that. So let's go back into our code. And below the paragraph, I'm going to make a div. And it's going to be, what should we name this here? I'll call it annual plan container because this has information about like an annual plan and how much it costs. So that sounds good to me. So we'll say dot annual plan container. All right, and then within that we have the music icon. Zoom that in for you. We have like a music icon, pricing information, and then a link that says change. So let's make all that. So within my annual plan container, I'm gonna make another div that I'm gonna put that music picture in. So I'll call it. I'll put a class on it, and I'll call it music icon container. And then within there, we'll have the image. We'll go to our images file by saying /. That / says go out of my index directory or folders area and go into the images folder. That's all that means. And icon music is right there. For the alt text, we'll put music icon and save. And there's our, make this a little smaller. There's our music icon. Okay. And then below that, we will do the pricing information. So I'll make another div called, we'll call it annual plan price. So dot annual plan price. And then I'm going to make this annual plan, I'm going to make this at H4. I'll put this in a span because it's not really a paragraph, so we'll just use span for this. The span tag is like a utility tag for HTML, and then this will be a link. So let's say H4. Oops. H4, and we'll say annual plan. And then let's do a span. And we'll give it a class of price because this is like the pricing info. And I'm going to say price $59.99 a year. That's what it says. And then below that div, we're going to have the change link. So let's put a div and we'll give it a class of change link because it just has like the text of change. But I'm going to put it in a div because links by default are they're inline, and I'm just going to put it in a div to make my life easy so that when I use Flexbox, everything Flexboxes over like it should. Okay. You could also just make this, put a link there, and then in the CSS, make it display block and then do it that way. But I like to just use divs. It's a little more HTML, but it allows me to get everything done without having to go write more CSS. So whatever trade-off when it comes to stuff like that's just your own style of coding, really. You're either going to end up writing more CSS or more HTML either way. But anyway, in here we'll put the link that says That's an anchor tag. It's not going to go anywhere, so we'll put a hashtag in the href, and then it just says the text change. Okay. And then I think that's it for this little area. So next we have the proceed to payment button, and then just a link under it that says cancel order, so we could do that. Just make sure that we're in the right area here. Let me highlight this div. So this is where the annual plan container ends, so we're going to want to go below it and make that button. And then, yeah, so cool. So I have this little extension that shows me, like, if I click on a div, especially when we have a bunch of divs here, that it'll underline both the starting and the ending one, so it's really helpful. I'm not sure what the name of the extension is, to be honest. I don't know. I could probably look into it and put it. Maybe I'll link it in the comments, but I don't remember what I downloaded. But it's been really helpful for me to have that. So, if I don't end up linking it, guys, like search for an extension that does that, because it's a lifesaver. Just FYI, especially when you get a lot of code. This is not a lot of code, but this is still super helpful. All right, so let's make our button here. We'll call it the payment button. So I'll say button dot payment btn. Okay, and we'll put proceed to payment just like it is in there. And we'll save, and then now just below the button we just have that link that says cancel order. So let's do that. We'll say dot cancel order link, and then we'll put our link in, hashtag, and we'll just say cancel order. Oops, it's got to be cancel order. I was writing it like it was a class. Okay, so we'll save, and there we go. Got everything we need. This is just all the raw HTML we need, so we can go ahead now and make this, add the CSS, and finish it up here. So let's get started on that. There was one thing, guys, I was kind of messing around with off screen. The pattern background that they give us is kind of wrong, because if we look at the background here, it's got like a blue and then a lighter blue and a little swirl, which is fine. But they give us something different. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm supposed to like make it right or something, but let me show you. So we'll go body, then we'll go background image, URL, and let's grab that SVG, one of my images, pattern background desktop, and save. And then we'll fix it. We'll say background repeat, no repeat, because it's repeating. That's the default thing that backgrounds do. And then we'll say background size, say background position, center. And then we'll say background size, cover. Okay, because that's how it's supposed to look. But for some reason, like this is correct. This color looks correct, but this blue down here is like just white, and I thought it looks like it's supposed to be like an off blue. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I suppose we could make the body that light blue color and then just add this in. I guess we're supposed to do that. So let's see if we can do that. Let's see if we can just add background color. There we go. So there, that fixed it. We'll just give it the background color of that other color. And that, see what it's doing, guys, is it's we just use this as a background image, and then like the rest of the body we gave this background, so it just kind of fills it in. But I don't know. That's one of those silly things that if a designer did to me at like a job, I'd be like, dude, just don't make my life difficult, man. Don't make me have to think like that, bro. But anyway, not that big of a deal, I guess. It's kind of silly to me. But anyway, so there's our background, okay? Now let's go ahead and do our order summary container. So, oh yeah, we never got our Google font. So let's get the fonts ready. Let's get the font that we're supposed to have for all this, because this is just like default sans serif or whatever. So we need Red Hat display font. So I'm just gonna make the screen big, and we'll go to Google Fonts. And I'm gonna click on this little shopping bag. And I already got them here, but I'll go through it with you guys. I'm going to type in Red Hat Display. There it is. And we need, I believe, 500 and 900. That's like kind of an awkward, it's kind of a weird mix, but it's either like 500 kind of bold or 900 really bold. So, and I'm getting that information from, I think it's on Figma, but it's also, it says 500, 700, 900, my bad. So some stuff is 700 as well. So let's grab 700. So 700 is right here. There we go. And then let's copy all. We're just going to use the link for this. So let's use this copy button here and put this in our HTML page. This small, and I'm going to put this over our CSS style sheet over here. I'm going to copy paste the link. And then that's the only font for the page, so that's easy for us. So let's just go ahead and copy the font and the fallbacks we're supposed to have, and I'm just going to put it up here in my asterisk, the font family, because that controls the whole page as well. So see if our fonts changed. Yes, they did. They look nice and pretty now. All right, so that's out of the way. Sorry about that, guys. We should have done that first, I guess, but better late than never, right? Okay. So let me zoom in here. All right, so let's start cracking on the CSS. So we got to get like I said earlier, I think I'm going to make this a background image within a div. And then everything else is really straightforward. We're pretty much just going to be using text align, giving this a white background, and then we'll have to do some styling on the button. We'll have to do styling, a little bit of styling on here. And then for this little box, we'll just be making this, we'll use Flexbox to put everything side by side, okay? So I'm going to be looking at Figma as I go to get all this right, so I'm not going to constantly go back here, just so you know. All right, so let's see. Get rid of that, and we need to do our order summary card container first. So let's do that. That's like the container for the whole thing, for our whole design. So I'm going to copy that, put the class in, and I know from Figma that it's supposed to have a width on desktop of 450 pixels. So we'll do that. And then it has a height of 697 pixels. So I'm just going to use fixed pixels for desktop. That's fine. And then I'm going to center this and drop it down because I don't want it all the way sucked up to the top here, and I want it centered in the page. So to do that, I'm going to use margin. So I'm going to say margin. I want 7 rem top and bottom of margin, so it's going to come down a little bit. And then I'm going to say auto for left and right, and that'll center it. There we go. So if I make this big, it is now centered. Okay. Let's go back. Let's see here. I think that's it for that container. Now we're just going to keep going on down. So now we have the order summary image area. So that's this image here. Okay. So copy that and go down here. Put a dot, put the class name. And we're going to say, so this has a width up here. It's going to have the same width of the whole container, which is 450 pixels. And we have to give that div a specific width because I'm going to put a background image in there. And if I don't give it a height and a width, the image will not show. And then the height, according to the Figma design, is 220 pixels. Okay. And you can see like stuff is adjusting here. There's just nothing there yet. Now let's add our background image. So we'll go background image URL, / images illustration hero. There it is. Okay. Very nice. So I'm going to copy all these other styles here because I just want that same for here. I don't want to have to type it again. So background repeat, position in center, and have it cover. Cover means cover the whole background of the div. And then I'm also, if you look in the design, there's actually some border radius just on top. So I'm going to add that. That's called border radius, those little curves on top. And that border radius is, I'll show you how to write it just to do the top ones. It's border radius. And then the first two values in border radius are top left. It goes top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. So knowing that, we're just going to say top left 20, top right 20, bottom 0, bottom 0. Okay. There we go. Got a little border radius in there. All right. And then let's drop down to, what are we on next? The summary info container. So let's style this. I'm just going to drop down, put a dot, summary info container. And we are going to give it the white background like it's supposed to have. So background FFF. There we go. And then this also has a border radius on the bottom right here. So I'm going to do that. So let's copy this border radius and just change the 20 pixels to the other two because we know the other two control the bottom. So we'll say 20, 20, 0, 0. Bam. Now we got my little border radius on the bottom. And let's say text align, we want it to be center. Everything's supposed to be centered in here. And then let's give everything a padding because this stuff has padding on the top and bottom, all the content. And I'm going to say padding. And I'll say 2.5 rem top and bottom. Maybe we can do 2, maybe or like 2 rem all around. Yeah. Whoops. My text line is supposed to be center, not a line. There we go. That looks good. Yeah. So stick with that. Now we want to just keep going down. So we're going to style the H3, the paragraph, this area, and on down. Okay. So we'll say summary info container. And then H3. And I'm looking at Figma, and it's giving me this hex color for that, the color of the H3, which is 1F2 E55. Okay. And then the font size is going to be 28 pixels. And the font weight is going to be 900. Oops. 900, so a little bolder. There we go. And then I'm going to give it some padding on the bottom of 1 rem. 1 rem is equal to 16 pixels. If you didn't know, guys, I just like to use rems. It's just easier for me. So I could have put 16 pixels there. 2 rems would be 32 pixels and so on. So that's done. Now let's do the paragraph. So copy this again. Summary info container, and this time we're going to put P for paragraph. And this has a grayish color, and the hex code for that is 717 FA6. Okay. And then it's got a font size of 16 pixels. Font weight of 500. What else? Again, guys, you've been all these styles from Figma. So font weight 500, line height 26 pixels. There we go. And then it does have the text is supposed to be a little more scrunched up, like this. So I'm gonna give it a width. I'm gonna say width 75%, and that makes it look like it's supposed to. Device anywhere you like should be on the bottom. So it actually should be a little bigger, maybe 80%. There we go. Anywhere you like, anywhere you like. That's good. And now since I gave it a width, it uncentered it, so I'm going to recenter it again by saying margin. And I'll put 0 auto. There we go. And then I'm going to give it some padding on the bottom again, just like I did with the H3. There we go. And then that dropped that down there. So that's it for our paragraph. Let's move on to this annual plan area. So let's go ahead and select, was it our annual plan container, I believe? Yep. Paste that in. Don't forget our dot, our class selector. Okay. So for this, we are gonna, remember I said we're gonna do flexbox, and we got to give it a background. It's got some border radius, so we'll do all that now. The border radius for this whole thing, according to Figma, is 11 pixels, so I'll do that. We're not gonna see it yet because I don't have that background. Let's add the background color, and that's gonna be a hex code of F7F. So we'll say F7F 9FF. So a lot of different colors in here, man. There we go. Now we can see everything, and we've got the border radius like we're supposed to, so that's good. And then I'm going to give this a width and height based off of the design. Figma says it's supposed to be 354 pixels wide. So we'll do that. 354 pixels and a height of 100 pixels. Okay. And then we'll center it again because it's not centered. So we'll say margin 0 auto. There we go. And then we'll give padding all around it of 1 rem. And we'll say display flex. There you go, and everything is side by side. And we'll say align items center. There we go. Okay, so that's it. We're going to leave everything like that for now, because if I try to justify the content, like I would usually go say like probably space between. It puts everything in, and it does look nice, but the design has it to where these two are closer to each other, and then this one's kind of further away. So we'll try to mimic that. So justify content is out. I mean, honestly, if I was just doing this project, like I would probably use justify content and see if the client or the designers complained. And if they didn't, I would just like keep quiet about it, but because that's the better way to do it. But we'll go 100% with the design here, dude. Just being honest, right? All right, so let's select the music icon here. So we'll say music icon container. Say dot music icon container. And we'll say padding right. We're just going to use padding to like position these for now, because it'll still look fine. It'll look more like the design. Padding right, I'll say 1.3 rem. Push that over a little bit. And then we have our annual plan price stuff. We'll grab onto that. That's just like the pricing. And we'll say padding right for this as well. And I'm going to say 5.5 rems. And that's going to push this change over to where it should be. Okay, so now that looks like the design if we go look at it. It looks like, as far as the positioning of stuff goes. I don't know. I guess, could I have, maybe I could have achieved that with Flexbox, but this works too just fine. We'll just have to make a little bit of padding adjustments for mobile, but we'll just go with that, guys. There's more than one way to do a lot of things in coding, so that's gonna be my way here. This could probably just be 1 rem. that a little closer. There. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so we just move that a little closer. What else? Now we'll style like the actual heading of this and everything. So we'll say annual plan price. So let's just copy this down. And we'll put H4 because we're using H4. And for the H4, we're going to give it a color of this one F2E55. And the font size is going to be 16 pixels. And the font weight is going to be 900. There we go, got a little bolder. All right, and then we're gonna style that span. So we gave it a class of price. So we'll just select it by saying annual plan price dot price, and we'll say. See, where's my colors here? Here it is. So it's got this color here, 717 FA6. And this font size should also be 16 pixels, so we'll explicitly put that in there. And a font weight of 500. Okay. So that's it for that. And now this change link, we'll style this up. So we'll say, let's grab its class. I want to say change link, not changer link. So dot change link A. And this has a purplish color, so it's hashtag 382 AE1. And it's got a font size of 14 pixels. It's got a font weight of 700. And it's I'll save that. Okay, so that's how it's supposed to look there. Let's see. Yeah. And then it does also, it's got a hover effect that we're supposed to put on it, that where it gets rid of the underline when we hover over it, and I think it makes this color a little lighter. So that's a transition. That's how we do that. So let's say transition, and we'll say all 0.1 second. So a slight delay and ease in. And now let's select this, and we'll use the hover pseudo selector to make that happen on hover. Oops. Okay. So on hover, it's gonna have a slightly different color that's lighter. So the color for that is hashtag 766 CF1. And text decoration should be none, and that'll get rid of the underline. And let's see if that worked. So let's go full screen here. Yep. See, it's got that slight little delay, changes that color, and the underline goes away, so that's perfect. So that's good. Next, we're going to be doing the payment button here. Yeah, let's proceed to payment button, so let's do that. So let's select the class. I think we just called it payment BTN. We did, so we'll just copy paste. And notice, guys, I'm copy pasting all my class names because I want to eliminate the chance of a typo. A typo, your stuff won't work, and then just like your brain sometimes doesn't catch it for like a while, and then you're just getting frustrated. So I've learned throughout the years, just copy paste your class and ID names no matter what, most for like every time, and that really saves a lot of frustration that could happen. So the width of this button, so we're building this right now, guys. Okay, let's proceed to payment button. And it's got a width on it for desktop of 354 pixels. and a height of 50 pixels. Oops. So height 50 pixels. And it's got a border radius of 11 pixels all the way around. Geez, I keep forgetting this. So border radius 11 pixels. There we go, nice and rounded. We're going to take off the actual border of it. So let's say border none, because we don't want that black border around it. And then it's got a background of that purplish color. It's this 382 AE1. And it's got a color of white for the text. So we'll say white, hashtag FFF, or you can write out the word white if you want. And then it also has a little bit of box shadowing down here if we look at the design. And I'm going to grab that box shadow code from Figma and paste it in here because I don't want to write that out from hand. It's a lot. But there's our box shadow. And then the font size within the button is supposed to be 15 pixels. And the font weight is 900. Okay. And then let's give it some margin top and bottom so everything isn't right up on it. So let's say margin, 2 rem top and bottom, 0 rem left and right. And then let's make sure that it has the cursor pointer. We want that pointer to appear when we hover over it. So there we go. And then this also has supposed to have like a hover transition like the link that we just did, where it gets a little bit lighter basically. I think that's all that happens. So we'll copy this transition code from up here, paste it here, and instead of all, I'm just going to say background, and we'll say 0.2 seconds. And then I'm going to select this, and we'll put the hover pseudo selector on it again. Okay. And we're going to do a different background color, so we'll say background, and it's the 766 CF1 again. So let's see if that works. When we hover over it, it should get lighter, and it does. And we've got, this time I put 0.2 seconds on it just to make it a little more pronounced for this button. Okay, so that looks good. And then lastly, we need to do our cancel order link, which is this thing here, just says cancel order. So changing the color, changing a couple things on it, so we can do that. So let's select it with its class, cancel order link. Let's say dot cancel order link A, and the color for this is going to be the 717 color, a little light gray. Font size is going to be 15 pixels for this. And the font weight is going to be 900 again. Text decoration for this one is not supposed to have that underline, so we'll say text decoration none. So by default, those link anchor tags, they have that underline decoration. So we've got to get rid of it there. And then this also has a hover effect. So let's transition again. We'll just copy paste the transition code. This time it's going to be the color. So we'll say transition color. Right, and then we'll grab this and put the hover pseudo selector on it yet again. Okay, and we're gonna change just the color when we hover over it, and that color is gonna be 1F2E55. So this one, and let's check that out. Yep, I'll just change this to like darker blackish color, whatever that is. And yeah, I think that's it for the desktop. So here's our desktop version, guys. Pretty cool. Got our background, got everything in there, everything styled up. All of our hover stuff hovers. think this looks really good. So let's go ahead and we'll go do the mobile version, which is just a smaller, it's the same thing. It's just we got to adjust the sizing of some widths to make it fit on a mobile screen better, because right now it's probably not going to fit so great. So mobile and desktop have like there's no difference. So we'll just be changing the widths of stuff, and that'll probably be it. Okay. So let's do for mobile CSS. We know that we're going to do some media queries. That's how we make stuff mobile. So I'm going to make a comment here that says media queries. So I know where my media queries start. And then I'm going to make a media query for mobile screens. So we'll say at media screen and then we'll do parentheses. I like to use max width. I know a lot of people use min width, but max width makes a lot more sense to my brain. So max width is like, this code says 400, all screens 480 pixels wide and below do this, okay? So we're going to do that. Let's start. So let's pull this up on like a mobile phone. We'll do like let's do like an iPhone 12 Pro, because that's really common phone, really common screen size nowadays, about 390 pixels. So we'll do that, and then we'll do a little bit of styling, because there's phones that have like 320 pixels across, or there's even those little fold phones. Those are like 280 pixels across, so we'll do additional styling for that too. But we'll do this is going to be good for almost every mobile phone right out of the box right here. So we got to fix the width on this thing because it's too wide. So let's just say this is the order summary card container. So let's just select that. And we're going to say width 90%. There we go. And then margin top, we just want it to be like 1 rem. We don't want to have like a ton of margin top. Remember, we can do 2 rem. There we go. Because I don't want it to be like sucked all the way down on mobile screen. I want it to be like right there. That's fine. And you can see us changing the width kind of messed up a couple things, but we'll fix all that. Next, we need the order summary image container class. We need to fix that. So I'm just going to grab this up here. Oops. Paste that in. And then for this, we're just going to say width 100%. And then we're going to say background size. We're going to say contain. Okay. So there we go. And we had to we changed that to contain so that the image just stays the same size and contained within where it's supposed to be. Yeah. Order summary. Oh, whoops. We got the wrong one, guys. Order summary image container. Here we go. That's in there. Order summary. Or is it just order summary image? It's just order summary image, I think. Let's see. Order summary image. My bad. I got the wrong class name in there, guys. Order summary image. There we go. So now it's contained. It's got the same width as everything else. We used background size contain because we can go back to cover, and it's too big. Okay. So because we're supposed to see the full image, so we have to use contain. Now this detached it, but we'll fix that. We'll use like negative margin to bring this back up. That's okay. Because let me just make sure. Yeah, the design says, hey, we still want to see the whole image on mobile, so that's where we got to use contain. Yeah. I wonder what happened to my border radius. I think contain made that go away, huh? Yeah, I did. Let's see. That's alright. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Because we need to see the... Well, let's see. That probably looks fine. I mean, that is mostly the image, right? We could probably just keep it as cover. Yeah. You do still see the whole image pretty much. So I'm just going to keep it as cover, guys. I'm going to make an executive decision. So let's just do that. All right. So let's go down. Now we need to do the summary info container. Or no, we don't need that. We need to do the annual plan container. That thing is out of control. So let's go select that. And it's a dot annual plan container. And we need to make this width change to 90%. And then we need to, what else? We need to fix, well, maybe it should be more than that. Maybe like 95. I wonder what would 100% do? Oh yeah, let's just do 100%. And then let's fix, we just gotta like fix where this stuff is positioned in here. So let's make this bigger. I don't know why this is so small. Sorry about that, guys. Just got to fix like where this stuff is and maybe change some font sizes around if we have to. Maybe for smaller screens we'll have to change font sizes because this all isn't going to fit on a mobile screen pretty unless we do. So let's say music icon container. That can stay. But the annual plan price padding's got to change. So let's go up here. Annual price padding. It's going to be too much padding, right? Because it's pushing it off of the container that it's supposed to be in. So let's fix that. Can we just knock this down to like 3? Yeah, that's better. So let's keep that there. Knock it down to 3 rem. Because the design's the same. It's just, yeah. Okay, so we'll say 3 rem there. And then... what else? I guess this text can be a little smaller for the H4. It's just so it fits better. Let's see, font size 13 pixels, let's see. That's better. I wonder if 14 works. Yeah, about 15. Let's go 14 because those other smaller screen sizes might have trouble with that. So let's do 14 for that and then 14 for the stuff below it, just so everything fits better. It's this one right here. Annual plan price dot price. And I just want to make this 14. And we don't need to mess with these, so we'll just get them out of here. Okay. That looks better. Looks good on mobile. Now we gotta do this last thing here that's messing stuff up is the proceed to payment. So that'll be the payment.payment btn. I remember that one. So let's just say .payment btn. There it is. And let's just change the width to 90%. Go 95. There you go. Or could we do, what is 100? Oh, yeah, just do 100 because it's got a container on it. So 100% of your container, that's fine. That looks good. Cancel order looks fine. We've got to change that at all. But now, so this looks good for most mobile phones. Oh, this is a BlackBerry Playbook. This is not even a mobile phone. Galaxy S8. So for the S8, which is 360 pixels, this all looks okay. We could probably actually change the width of... go back to iPhone. We can change the width of this text to look better on phones because it's too scrunched up. So let's go back to the iPhone 12. Let's change that. I don't like how that looks. So what is that? Summary info container P. Could probably make that width like 100% on phones. So right here. Put it right here. And everything can stay but the width. Or everything can go away but the width, I should say. Let's say width 100%. There we go. That's better. So let's go down to S8. That looks better. So this is still giving us issues on 360 pixels. So let's make a media query for that. And we'll just change that there. So I'm going to copy that code down. Say max width 360. And we'll put these in there because now this doesn't look that good. What if we change them both to 12? That's a little better. 10. Okay. We'll do 10. And then that kind of fixes that. I wonder if 11 will work. I don't want to make it too small. Yeah, we'll do 11. You can still read it, right? I mean, this is just like a smaller screen. This is an S8, which I think is like an old phone, but there's probably other phones out there that have this screen size. So, all right, now here's the even smaller screen size, the 320. So let's make a media query for this. Say 320. And we'll mess with these font sizes again. Say 9 pixels, 9 pixels. Still too big. Well, I don't want to make it too much smaller than that. So, let's just fix. For this, we'll just fix the padding on that. So, what is that right here? I get down to 2 rem. 1 rem. Yeah. We'll just have to, it'll just look like that on smaller screens because I can't really do too much more without making this text unreadable on these small screens. So let's just stick with that. Okay. So yeah, remember guys, this is tedious, but we got to develop for like every screen that we can. We don't want somebody having a smaller mobile phone and this being outside of its box or something like that. Okay. So I know that doesn't look awesome, but at least it works on the phone, right? That's what's important. And not everything is going to look perfect on every single screen size. There's too many screen sizes out there today to do that, really. It's really, really hard. But we'll get close. You at least want to make it like functional and readable on every screen size, even if it doesn't look perfect, because at the end of the day, the person looking at that isn't the designer, and they're not going to know the difference. They're not going to care. The user's not really going to know or care, right? As long as they can read it, they're fine. So I'm just going through every phone now just to make sure it looks good, which it does. Let's keep going here. We're almost there. These are all the phones. Yeah, liking it. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. These are iPads. We got to look at iPads because those are tablets. Those are going to be the desktop size anyway. Let's go down to the Galaxy Fold. This is a really small phone, 280 pixels. So as you can see on this, we might just want to make this wider because this is the one. This is one of those phones that fold up. So let's do that. Let's say, where is it? Payment button. No. Right here, annual plan container. Let's just make this a little different for that. So give me this code. Here, give me this code. Copy this down. Delete. Say 280 in here. paste this in here. Okay. We're going to get rid of everything but the width on this. And we'll say 180, 200, 240. It's gonna be too big. 220. Margin 0 auto. It's not centering though. Not centering when I do that. That's a shame. All right, let's do this. We'll just make all the text small, I guess. It's not much else I can do, right? Yeah. I'll have to make it smaller, I guess. Well, let's make the link text small to start. So it's this, nope, it's the change link. So I know this is kind of silly, but we got to make this look readable on this little stupid phone. Yeah, so even at 10 pixels, it's still getting pushed over too much. So now we got to fix the padding. So let's make it 11 pixels anyway, like the other one. So they're all the same size at least. And then we got to go up here. Fix the padding right. And we'll say 1 rem. Oh, no, that's not the right one, is it? Oh, it is the right one. Padding right. 0 rem. 0.5. No. 0.3. 0.1. All right, I'll do 0.1, I guess. So, yeah, I guess we could make the width of the icon smaller, maybe. Can we do that? Let's see. Music icon container. All right, and then we'll say within there the image. Let's say width 40 pixels. There, that helps. Okay. Let's say 30. There, that's even better. And then we can give this more padding. Okay, that's better. All right, I'm happy with that. That annual plan can just stack up like that. I don't care. That's fine. It's readable, right? It works. Because I don't even know if the people that own these fold phones, like, even do they ever look at stuff in this little like how this thing has like 5 different widths on it. Jeez, what a weird phone. Oh well, if you're into that, good for you. All right, moving on. Moving on to the more normal phones. Samsung Galaxy Nest Hub is a tablet, but Galaxy S5 looks good. Pixel. So this looks good on pretty much every device, guys. So we're good to go there. Yeah. So I am happy with this. This is how it looks on every phone. iPhone 5, which probably nobody uses anymore. 6, 7, 8. So on all like modern, bigger screen phones, right, it looks great. So that's what matters. Looks good. Even on these smaller phones, it still works. But yeah, that's all the phones. Cool. We made it. All right, guys. So that's going to be it for this challenge. I'm going to link the finished code into the comments or the description. And everything else you'll need will also be in the description. But thank you so much for watching this, guys. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next video that I make.